way, at least on this, like, it's more a feeling than a reality, but still. But what really lacks, I think, and what I see also lacking when going to all the different groups that say they are revolutionary groups, or that try to make left-wing politics, what for me lacks is this this project of what comes after, what would come after the revolution. So what if we claim, or if we call for radical changes of our society, what is the project that would be proposed, and what is the project to which I could identify? Because, I mean, yeah, the revolution is important to change the society, but it's not the end point, obviously. At least, or maybe it is, but I don't know. So for me, this was like an interesting chapter, because Lenin tries to define something, like, or he tries to attack this question, and then at the same time, it seems very difficult one, and it's, yeah. So that's all.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
excellent. Yeah. We need to prepare for the necessity of revolution. But we, like you say, we can change things.
Thank you, and Catherine. I think we'll just launch into a general discussion. I just wanted to say something, because you had said at the beginning about that not here for the prior syllabus, which has absolutely no relevance to your presentation. But this question of prefigurative politics you raised, that is what will be in socialism, etc. The question of the character of that is something that is just worth thinking about. It's in no way an answer to the issue you raised. A kind of conclusion, the culmination point of the first semester syllabus is Korsch's Marxism and Philosophy, where he raises the question of how does one think about transformation when the object is transformation is you yourself. That is you and your relation with other people. So it's this very strange thought figure, because you yourself are the object of the thing you yourself are the object of the transformation, and as you begin to carry out the transformation, the object itself transforms. So it's this kind of always fleeting, well, not always fleeting, but this kind of ever ephemeral process of transformation, because you yourself are the object. I mean, this is the difficulty of any kind of prefigurative politics, right? That is the recognition of the necessity for social transformation, but the awareness of the fact that necessarily that humanity itself transforms in the process of attempting to transform itself, with all of the unintended consequences and uncertainties and unforeseen new problems and dilemmas that raises, right? But I didn't mean that by way of any way as an answer to your question of this problem, prefigurative politics, but I think Korsch has a very nice way of highlighting why it's such a dilemma, not just for Lenin, but for anyone who wants to think about changing society. That is, if we're talking about a man-made set of institutions, about relationships between people and then people's relationships with their innermost selves, if that's what we're aiming at as the object of transformation, the minute one attempts to do that, one is suddenly transforming both your relationship with others and your relationship with your innermost self. And it's not like trying to transform, say, nature or the natural, non-human, non-built environment, in other words. It presents that kind of immense problem. But I'll say one last thing, Russ. The other thing about this, and I want to say this not as a comment, but just to open up to general discussion, is I think, though, the reason why it's important of entering on this question of prefigurative politics that you do, because if it is the case, if we can kind of follow Korsch to some degree and sort of talk about the fact that prefigurative politics is not something that the Marxist tradition makes taboo, but rather that the Marxist tradition makes deeply problematic, because it really raises what it is, the object that you're changing, right? That so makes it almost impossible to speak of, to draw up abstract schemes of what the future will be like from the basis of the present, right? But nevertheless, Marxism does say, how do we get here? How do we get there from here? That's what Marxism is about. So I don't mean to suggest for a second that your question, prefigurative politics, is not an appropriate question. But there's this kind of dilemma or a paradox in Marxism, which is it claims to be the most rigorously thoughtful politics in terms of both theory and practice about how one gets from here to there. much more than any other alternative. But at the same time, it also claims that the object of transformation itself transforms in the act of transformation, because it's humanity. So it's this weird contradiction. And that really, so it is in a sense the problem of historical consciousness, the problem of self-awareness, right? So I'm just trying to even put in, not to answer your question, but even to put it in relief of the syllabus as a whole. But I thought of a way of just opening up general conversations is, this is a nice way of framing politics. What is politics? That is, what's Lenin's conception of politics? And if it is the fact that one can't have prefigurative politics, what's the basis of revolutionary socialist politics? I mean, I just thought that might be a way of framing the discussion, is going into what's politics, right? Because Marxism, remember, way back to Thesis on Feuerbach, claims to be not an attempt to understand but to change the world. A claim that it is the most advanced form of the effort to change the world, right? So necessarily Marxism is a politics, above all else. Beyond theory, beyond labor unions, beyond class struggle, it's political practice. That's what it rises and falls on. And something I forgot to say earlier, before your thing, was simply to say that really the question of Marxism is not, well, we should get into this discussion, but I'll put this out now, that the real question of the validity of Marxism is not the question of Marx and Engels, it's the question of Lenin. We'll get into that in details, but I just wanted to put that out as a provocative statement, that it's not the whole purposeness of thinking through Marxism, and the real question of its continuing validity or its persistence at the present is not really the question of Marx and Engels' relevance, but rather the question of Lenin's relevance. As that person who was the leader of the practical effort that most radically tried to transform the world, from a basis of a Marxist understanding of theory, practice, and the relationship between them, and its development. So I just wanted to frame the conversation with that.
Yeah.
What's politics in Lenin?
What Lenin was speaking of is Marx's economic determinism. That is the basis of his philosophy, that economic determinism determines the development of and the change of your psychological outlook and your possessiveness of property and all that. It is economic determinism that determines that. As you change the economy into a communist economy, such as Lenin did early in his war communism, he completely abolished buying and selling of property and had strict distribution. In his war communism before 1921, when he developed the printing of money and the paid wages even to the internally to his Communist Party, that was the corrupting element. The money being paid wages to the party within the communist economy, that was the corrupting element of the society.
I would actually